Boom! What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Happy Thursday to you all, and welcome to another live beer review. Today, we're going to be taking a look at another beer from Drekker Brewing Company. You guys all know well by now that I would say Drekker Brewing Company is up there with one of my favorites out there when it comes to a lot of different styles. They make some really fantastic IPAs, and of course, they're really well known for their fruited sours when it comes to different kind of variations of a fruited sour. Of course, they're known for more of the heavy fruited stuff, like stuff you would see from RAR Brewing Company, 450 North. Of course, Evil Twin does stuff like that. Who else? 903 Brewers down in Sherman, Texas. So there's a bunch of breweries out there that are well known to specialize in these heavy fruited sours when it comes to just using a lot of fruit puree. And Drekker's probably on the top of the list of, I would say, the most popular. Besides, I would say maybe 450 North is up there when it comes to just really high really high demand and all that kind of stuff. And Drekker's availability when it comes to getting this stuff out to the masses has gotten really good over the past year or so. So today we have one that we're gonna be looking at from their Chonk line, which is kind of their Sunday line. So they have the Slang du Jour, which is more of like a pastry kind of style fruited sour, and they have their Brains line, which is more of just their straight fruited sour, just straight fruit flavors. And then they have the Chonk line, which is more like a little bit of like a sundae kind of feel to it. When again, they got a lot of marshmallow. And today we got their Strawberry Guava Banana Fluff Sundae Sour this afternoon. And just look at this guy. Of course, we got the Chonk sitting there being the goodest boy ever. And this guy comes in at a 6.9% ABV, which is definitely a good ABV for this kind of style of beer. They kind of vary back and forth. I know some of the Brains kind of gets up to like that 7.5 realm, but it just all depends. They are doing some really cool stuff over there when it comes to how they're making their beers over at Drekker, and just they have their recipes that are set in stone. It's like you automatically know it's a Drekker beer just by the flavors you're getting in there, because they have so many different just like flavors that specifically I get in their beers when it comes to how their recipes are for their pastry flavor, that kind of like almost pie crust kind of flavor in the Slang du Jour. So I'm pretty damn excited to give this one a try. It's a very interesting combination of fruits they decided to do in this one when it comes to a Sundae sour, especially strawberry, guava, and banana fluff. So having it be like that banana, marshmallow fluff situation, I think is really cool. Plus, of course, there's always a few recommendations that I give people when it comes to drinking this kind of style of beer, just to make it an overall really good drinking experience. Of course, whenever you purchase something like this at a liquor store or bottle shop, you're going to want to make sure you bring it home and it's still refrigerated. Bring it home and just put it right back into the fridge at all times. You want to make sure the stuff stays cold as it possibly can be, because the fruit puree in there, when they add all the puree and stuff that they're doing to it after it's just the initial kettle sour during the fermenter, they transfer it over to the bright tank, which is where they carbonate and all that kind of stuff. And of course with this one, that's when they start adding all the puree into it and just adding all the craziness that is involved when it comes to their gimmicks, I guess you can say, when they add all that stuff to there. And then it's because if you leave that in there, in like a room temperature situation, it can possibly cause that fruit puree to ferment a little bit and then cause CO2 buildup inside of the can. And that's what you see sometimes when it comes to when people open these kind of style of beers and it kind of starts foaming over a little bit. So that's one recommendation I give to people whenever you're purchasing this kind of style of beer. Make sure it's refrigerated at all times. And of course, when you bring it out, when you want to drink it, just give it a couple gentle rolls on the countertop back and forth just to get all the purees there, stuff starting to get suspended throughout the can. And then one thing I like to do specifically is when I'm bringing it to where I'm going to drink it, just hold it upside down, just because all the stuff that's sit at the bottom is going to start going through, working its way through the entire beer. So hopefully, if you do all that correctly, you should have a pretty even pour when you decide to open this one. Even though I've done all these things before, all the recommendations, I've still had situations to where they still kind of foam over. So it all varies, I guess you could say. But I always recommend kind of being a little bit conscious of where you're opening up the can. Of course, you don't want to do it somewhere you're going to make a mess. So if you have a sink available over near you, or somewhere where you know if it foams over, it's not going to be a big deal, just have that available to you at all times. Of course, I put a towel down whenever I'm opening these kind of style of beers, just to be precautious. I don't want any stains on my carpet and all that kind of stuff. So I always put a towel down just to be sure, because who knows what happens sometimes. But those are the recommendations I like to give. So with this one, I'm expecting this one to be really creamy. I'm really kind of curious to see what that guava is going to do with that kind of almost sundae marshmallow kind of ice cream kind of feel it's going to do to it. If the guava is going to add a little bit of like a funk to it, because guava usually adds like a funky kind of taste. That's a taste that I actually really enjoy. Of course, the The strawberry is going to definitely be a little bit lighter, I think. You're not really going to get a predominant strawberry note hitting you in the face just because it's a lighter fruit. So there's not really many things that I think of when it comes to beer specifically. You always open them directly over your wife's head. That's great, face me. But when it comes to strawberry being in a beer, if it's just strawberry, sure, you might get it, but when there's a lot of other things in there, like guava, and like with this one being the banana fluff in there, where banana is definitely an overpowering fruit sometimes, where you definitely get it. I think the strawberry in this one's going to be a little bit muted, but who knows? We might get those flavors in there. So I'm pretty damn excited to crack this one open. Of course, it's going to be super thick, creamy, all that kind of stuff. So let's crack this thing open and see what we get on the nose. So let's be safe over here. And okay, I think we're good. So no foam over happened, which is great. Gave it that initial burst, let whatever's in there. So right on the nose, yeah, the guava is the first thing I'm getting. I'm definitely not surprised that the guava is going to be the most predominant fruit flavor, I think, in this, just because it's a very, very strong tasting fruit. Even though it's not strong in a bad way, you definitely get that guava funk hitting you right in the face. And I think it's an absolutely fantastic smell. It's almost like very tropical, but of course not really getting any of the strawberry, not really getting the banana, not really getting like a vanilla kind of note coming through from the marshmallow fluff. But yeah, I'm excited to drink this one. So of course, going to be drinking this out of my Whistle Punk glass this afternoon. So let's pour this guy and see what it's all about. Oh yeah, super thick. I like to pour it about halfway, give it a nice swirl in the can, get everything moving in there, and then complete the pour, just because, oh yeah, nice thick goodness right there. Has some really nice colors going to it. A lot of times when you pour a beer like this, you're not going to get a crazy amount of head, so you can almost pour beers like this without even tilting the glass a little bit, that 45-degree angle. But look at that. It has almost like a nice kind of creamy, tannish kind of color to it. A little bit of head, but not too crazy. Not of more of a... There's definitely not like a fermented kind of head, because a lot of times when you see a head that has a little bit more of a fermented kind of look, there's a little bit like bigger bubbles in it. But this one just reminds you of a nice head on a beer, so look at that. But yeah, still getting a lot of the guava coming through. Of course, the guava is pretty much the only thing I'm getting on the nose right now. So who knows if we might get a little bit more once we hit the palate with it. But yeah, it smells absolutely delicious. So let's give this guy a try and see what it's all about. So cheers, everybody. Happy Thursday. Okay. I'm gonna be completely honest here. At first, I had no idea what flavor I was getting. Definitely guava right up front. Very, very predominant. But towards the end, you definitely are getting almost that unripened, like closer to the top of the strawberry where like the leaves are kind of thing. Where it's like if you pick an unripened strawberry, you know the top where it's kind of white. And the closer you eat to that, the like kind of like a less sweet strawberry flavor you get. That's the kind of strawberry flavor I'm getting in that. And then the banana, that banana marshmallow fluff kind of situation is pretty low. I would say you're getting a little bit. I think it turns into like a strawberry banana kind of fluff is what the flavor you're getting, because you get little hints of strawberry, like the unripened strawberry. You get a little bit hints of the banana / marshmallow fluff situation. But the very most predominant flavor in this one is the guava. So if you're not a fan of guava, you're most likely not going to enjoy this one. Guava definitely has its own kind of natural tartness, I would say. So, but it's nothing crazy when it comes to like it being sour. Like not like a fermented kind of sour. It's definitely more of a natural fruit flavor, kind of tart sour flavor that's in there. So overall, there's a nice, like after I've drank it, after the first sip, there's definitely a nice kind of lingering sweetness. Definitely almost like a brown sugar, kind of cinnamon sugar kind of flavor that's lingering on the tongue. That's actually really nice. But overall, yeah, this beer is absolutely delicious. Definitely has a nice kind of almost like light, like it's gonna sound weird, but it's almost like a lighter kind of chocolate milk kind of color to it. But I think that's just most of the color from the guava. Yeah, I think this beer is absolutely delicious. Really, really nice. Definitely has some very interesting flavors coming through it. When it comes to balance from getting all those flavors, I think they could have done a little bit less guava, just to let that marshmallow kind of like banana and strawberry fluff kind of situation that you're going to get at the back end kind of linger a little bit more. I really like that, almost like I said, brown sugar, cinnamon sugary kind of sweetness that lingers. I wasn't expecting that, to be honest, but I think it's a really nice change of pace and kind of helps wash away that strong guava that hits you right up front. But overall, I think this beer is absolutely delicious. So let's look over here at Untappd. And of course, Untappd does a really cool thing to where they like to show similar beers to whatever beer you're looking at. So, of course, looking at this Chonk Strawberry Guava Banana Fluff, looking at the similar beers list, we got a couple different options for you. So, of course, I'm not going to really list off any of the other Drekker ones that they have on the similar beers list, because if you can't get your hands on this one, if you can't find anything from Drekker near you, you most likely won't be able to find any other Drekker beers within that similar beers list as well. So we're going to only look at two of these, because I'm not really sure what this first one is. It looks like it's probably something overseas, but we got a couple different options here. So let's see. We got one here from Funky Fluid, which is a collaboration between Funky Fluid and Pomona Island Brew Co., which is their triple gelato Bakewell tart, which this almost, looking at the color and all that stuff, it looks like more of a kettle. I mean, it definitely looks like it has a little thickness, but I think it's more in the realm of being more of a kettle sour. I think they used a little bit less puree, but when it comes to, let's see, raspberries, cherries, strawberries, sure, that's gonna be more of a berry flavor. So I don't know if I picked that one, but the one I'm probably gonna say is going to be the most similar to this one is actually one that I reviewed, which is pretty funny. Actually, did I review this one? I think I did. Hold on. Oh, no, I don't think I have. Never mind. So, this one is this from Energy City. I've reviewed stuff from Energy City before, and it's another fantastic brewery that's local to me, which is nice. And this one they're suggesting to be similar is from their Bistro line, which is their smoothie kind of pastry sour line. It's a pink guava banana smoothie, which I think is definitely going to be the most similar. I think you're going to get that upfront guava. You're going to get that little hint of banana. ABV is pretty similar, with this one being a 6.9 and the Bistro one being a 6.5. So yeah, I'm going to pick this Bistro pink guava banana smoothie to be the most similar out of the list on here, because the flavor profile I think is going to be really close to being identical. Of course, that strawberry really isn't going to be in there, but I think that strong upfront guava is going to give you similar flavors, and that banana note that's in there is going to give you some similar banana flavors that you're getting in this one. So yeah, this Energy City Bistro Pink Guava Banana Smoothie is most likely going to be the most similar one that you can find when it comes to finding available, like similar beers to this without getting this one specifically. So, and of course we got some verified venues to look at. So for me specifically, they're showing a verified venue in Illinois, in Mundelein, Illinois, which is the Oak Trail Spirits. But then for other popular occasions for Drekker, I know Drekker actually has availability overseas as well, like in Holland and all that kind of stuff, and European countries. So having their smoothie sours available over there is nice, but they actually have a place in Washington, D.C. that they're showing as a venue, a verified venue, and it's called the Runaway. So maybe if you're in the D.C. area, you can go over to the Runaway and see if they have anything like this Chonk, or maybe anything other from Drekker. But overall, let's see here. Let's look at what they show as the description of this guy on Untappd, because a lot of brewers usually have a pretty decent description of their beers. So let's see here. What it says is that our lovable hefty boy is back in its time, and this time he is absolutely slathered with strawberry, guava, and banana, and marshmallows, of course. Our little absolute unit is super sticky, but having a great time and breathing all heavy because the combo of flavors is extra decadent and tasty as hell. Yeah, I definitely agree with that there. Yeah, I think that little bit of like almost pastry, like cinnamon sugar, brown sugar kind of thing at the end that I'm getting, that's the main flavor that lingers with that sweetness, is where the decadence is coming from. I think that's really nice. That's super, really cool kind of back note flavor that you would not expect to get out of this kind of beer. I would expect that kind of flavor to be something more out of the sling de jour, to be honest. But I think they did an absolutely really good job to kind of add that little bit of a decadence to it, with it almost being like a sundae kind of situation. But looking here, let's see what the ratings are looking like here. So like I said before, it's a 6.9% ABV, so I would definitely consider this a beer being sessionable. Of course, these beers are pretty damn dangerous as well, just because there's no really booziness to them at all. It's like you're drinking a fruit smoothie or a liquid sundae or a liquid dessert practically at times, and you can drink like 3 or 4 of these and you'll definitely be feeling it for sure, because most likely these are going to go down pretty quick just because of how non-beer how they taste. So, and with over 1,122 ratings on this guy, this one has an average rating of 4.14 out of 5, which is pretty damn good. And I don't know if anybody on my friends list checked this one in. It doesn't look like they did. But let's look at the global rating and see what other people had to say. So, let's see. This guy checked it in, gave it a 4.25, purchased at Inner Beer HQ, which is in Gelderland. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It looks like it's overseas. And what he put in there, it says very slightly acidic, which, of course, you're going to get most likely the acidity from the guava in there. Thick and full, deliciously fruity. Yeah, definitely agree with him that one. Of course, yeah, I would say there's a nice acidity. There's a decent little bit of acidity to it that kind of brings in that little bit of, helps with tartness, I guess. Of course, that can be evolved with just adding citric acid. And then, of course, natural tartness that comes most likely from the guava, I think, is where you're going to get that acidic kind of flavor coming from it. But I don't think it's anything like it's predominant to where you drink it and it's almost like triggering acid reflux. You're not going to have any situation like that. This person gave it a full 5 out of 5. What else we got here? We got a 4.25 purchased at Project Beers, which is in Groningen? I don't even know. There's a bunch of overseas check-ins. I'm looking at this one. So 4.25 out of 5. Another 4.25 purchased at Project Beers. Let's see. We got a 4 out of 5. Definitely speaking a different language on that one, so I don't know what he's saying. This person gave it a half out of 5. So not a 0.5 out of 5 check-in. So this guy must have not enjoyed it. I wonder why. He didn't say anything. He didn't need to. What else we got here? We got a full another 4.5. Let's see. We got a 3.5 here. Let's see. We got a 4.75 saying, clicking on the translation, it says, "Wow, what a taste! Best fruit juice I've had so far. I am totally sold. Like more of these." Yeah. So this person's definitely sold on this kind of style of beer. Of course, it's once you kind of try this kind of style of beer, it's hard to not enjoy it. So I think with this kind of style of beer becoming really popular in the States and seeing it kind of go overseas a little bit is pretty damn cool. So he gave it, let's see, we got another 4.25 here. It looks like he purchased this at like some kind of giant tap house where they just have a bunch of beers on tap, which I think is pretty damn cool. Let's see, we got a 4 out of 5 here, purchased at the Republic Bottle Shop, which is in Marysville, Washington. So, of course, Washington State has some availability on this one. Let's do 2 more. We got a 4.5 out of 5, and the last one we're going to look at here is another 4.5 saying, "Oh yeah, just stick it into my vein. Accepting that for my veins do not have taste buds." Oh, so he just wants to inject it into him. He's just only upset that his veins don't have taste buds, so he can't taste it when he just injects it in. But overall, the flavors in this one are pretty damn spectacular. Okay, well, let's see here. Yeah, super low ratings mean nothing to me. Oh yeah, I definitely agree with you, Face Meat. If there's a super low rating and then they just didn't give you a reason why, it's kind of upsetting because I would like to see other people's experience with it and why they didn't like it, but it is what it is. Maybe they're just kind of curmudgeony, who knows. But overall, I think the flavors of this one are absolutely fantastic. So that being said, let's start trying to figure out what we're going to be doing for ratings over here on Arn with this guy. So of course, first thing we like to look at is can art. And I really like the can art to the Chonk one just because it's just a fat cat just getting drenched in whatever fruit they're deciding to add in there. So Mr. Chonk with the horns is getting slathered in some guava, so we got some banana in there. So he's just having a good time being lazy. He's being the thickest boy of all time. And I always like the Chonk line just because the colors are really nice. They have a little bit of like a gore factor to it with him like scratching at something to make it bleed. Of course, the pentagram on the Chonk is always a really nice touch. But yeah, anything that Drekker comes out with within these lines are pretty damn cool. Plus, I'll read off the gimmicks here and see what they show on here. So for the malt, for the grain bill, what they show on here is 2-row, which is a very, very common malt to add into it. So 2-row is probably one of the most common malts to add in there. Wheat, so I wonder if it was a flaked wheat. Of course, flaked wheat's going to have like a really nice stickiness to the the mash and all that kind of stuff, and also adding just so when you're a lot of the times when you're brewing a beer with wheat in it, well, if there's a lot of wheat, it's going to be a super super sticky beer. So, and then they had Carafoma, which is of course another common malt, and then with the hops, of course, Magnum and Hallertau Blanc, which are definitely two common hops to use in a kettle sour. So this is all of the steps before they added the puree. So right now, at this point, with the grain bill and the hops they used, this is just looking like your average kettle sour. And then, of course, with the flora, which is cost all the cultures and all that kind of stuff, you got the lactobacillus culture, which is when you add the lactobacillus into the boiled kettle and you have to have it sit for 24 hours just to kind of, that's what you're adding in there to sour the beer. It's some kind of culture that gets like the tartness to come through, a little bit of like a kettle sour tartness to the actual wort itself before it's added to the fermenter. And then, of course, they have the house ale yeast, which a lot of breweries do have their own house culture when it comes to whatever yeast they like to use. And then the gimmicks, you got strawberry, guava, banana, marshmallow, lactose, most likely just the moon sugar and all that kind of stuff, and then vanilla. So yeah, pretty self-explanatory gimmicks and malt bill and hops and all that there. I really enjoyed that Drekker likes to do that on their cans, which is nice. Of course, the colors on this one are nice. I feel like I've seen something pretty similar to this one when it comes to colors. The only thing that I do not remember seeing is in the eyes. There's like a little bit of like a green kind of hint to them. But I always enjoy really getting these ones. The Chonk colors and just the designs on the can art are really, really nice. You got the Drekker logo with the Viking there, which I think is always badass. So yeah, I would give it my easy 4.75 out of 5 for can art with this one. Definitely something that if I see anything from Drekker, it's most likely going to catch my attention at a liquor store or bottle shop, just because that's the kind of can art they usually do and the kind of name they've set themselves for when it comes to their marketing. So yeah, 4.75 out of 5 for can art. But let's see here. If I got this beer in a flight over at Drekker Brewing Company, would I get another one? Absolutely. Absolutely. There's definitely some things that I might have changed with this one, but overall I think the flavors are still absolutely fantastic. Like I said before, I really, really like that almost pastry kind of thing that comes in at the very, very end after you've had your first sip and the flavors are lingering a little bit, and then you get that brown sugar, almost like cinnamon sugar kind of bakery flavor that you wouldn't expect out of the Chonk line. I'm going to be completely honest. I'm really surprised that those flavors came in because it would have reminded me that I'm drinking a Sling de Jour. So, let's see here. I would definitely get another one of these in a flight if I got one. I'd probably get another one of these just by itself if I got on a flight. I'd most likely get a 4-pack to bring home because a lot of the times when it comes to a lot of the fruited sours from Drekker, I really, really do enjoy them. So I wouldn't mind keeping a couple in the fridge just for a nice kind of fruity beer to drink on. But with all that being said, what is my final rating on this guy going to be? I'm going to give it a solid 8.5 out of 10. Really good. Of course, one of the things, like I said, that I wish I was a little bit different was just a little bit less guava, because you know guava is going to be a little bit very predominant when it comes to the flavors. And just the slightest less guava in there to let that strawberry banana kind of fluff, marshmallow fluff kind of situation speak a little bit more. I think having that banana kind of come through a little bit would be really, really nice. Would kind of balance and add a little bit more, because of course banana's in there, adding like a little bit of a creaminess to it as well, because it's more of a creamier kind of fruit in my opinion. But other than that, that's the only thing I would change, is a little bit less guava to kind of let those other two fruits speak a little bit more. But other than that, there was nothing else I would change about this one bit. Like I stated before, that bakery note that you get at the end that I didn't expect at all is a really, really nice touch, and just throws you through a loop for a second, because you never know what you're going to be getting when you drink something from Drekker. So 8.5 out of 10 is where I'm going to leave it with this one. So another fantastic beer from Drekker Brewing Company. So big shout outs to the team over there. But other than that, yeah, I think that's pretty much what I got for you guys today. So thank you everybody in chat for hanging out. You guys are awesome. If you haven't yet, please hit that like button. It would help me out a lot. Also, if you're new to the channel and like what you see, make sure to hit that subscribe button along with that notification bell. It'll let you know whenever I go live doing a review. I've got reviews planned for the rest of the week for you guys, so keep an eye out for those. Of course, you can shoot me a follow on all my social media platforms. You got my Instagram, where you'll see what I'm going to be reviewing that day. And then, of course, you can kind of see some little behind-the-scenes stuff we're doing at Fibs. Of course, you saw on Tuesday, we did a little bit of brewing. We got our Hefeweizen that's coming out, so if anybody in the Chicagoland area is good in the mood for a good hef when it comes to Oktoberfest season kind of coming around, come on over to Fibs. It should be ready by, I would say, maybe mid-October, beginning to mid-October. Should be have that on tap for you guys. But other than that, of course, you could shoot me a friend request on Untapped itself. You guys hear me talk about Untapped all the time. It's a fantastic platform. You could drink beers, get badges. I like to call it Facebook for beer drinkers because that's pretty much what it is. It's just a super fun platform that the team over there at Untapped has done some really, really cool things. It just made it a really, really easy platform to use. So if you're a craft beer fan and you're not on Untapped yet, do yourself a favor, do so. It's a really, really fun time. So you can shoot me a friend request. Link to my profile is down in the description below. And of course, the best way you guys can support me besides watching my videos is heading over to the Patreon and joining up there, because that helps me get more beer in my hands. Also help me get more beer in your guys' hands as well, because I do monthly 4-pack giveaways of Illinois exclusive craft beer. So who knows, there might be something I'm thinking about doing when it comes to around the holidays. Maybe beer advent calendar week giveaway. I don't know. Just kind of giving you guys a little bit of a hint. So if you want to possibly win yourself advent calendar of Illinois exclusive craft beer, maybe we might have something I might have something in the works with that, maybe to get it in people's hands and all that kind of stuff. We'll just have to see from that. We might need to get a little more people over there before I do it. So if you want your opportunity to win possibly an advent calendar on the holidays, that might be something that's happening. So get yourself over to the Patreon, join it, because it's a fun time, small group of people. Plus, it helps me out greatly. It helps me do what I do, get more beer in my hands. Plus, of course, getting the beer out to you guys as well. Yeah, beer helmets, who knows? That might be something down the future as well. So if you want to possibly get your hands on any of the stuff that I give away over there, head over to the Patreon. Link to that is down in the description below as well. But other than that, that is what I have for you guys today. So again, thank you everybody in chat for hanging out. You guys are awesome. And I'm going to end it like I always do before we get the hell out of here. If you're going to drink responsibly. Don't drink and drive. And I'll see y'all next time. Cheers.